Good morning, healthy body, mind, spirit engagers. See how we did that? Yeah, we kept our new name. I mean, in other words, we haven't changed it after like a week and a half. Engaging a healthy mind, body, spirit. I'm Dr. Annette Feravich. I'm the teacher. You are here in the classroom. And we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and read No, I'm not. I'm going to do what I wanted to do, which is just this. It only lasts a few minutes, but I'm going to give you an introduction to it, okay? I was thinking of something just slightly different to get us a little bit more engaged. I mean, not that we're not engaged. I love this. I hope that you love it as well. And I think that you do. I have really good feedback. I do. From, about what I do. I sure do. Remember what we're doing right now in this class. So, here's our title. We are doing the highlights, right? So we're reading from Highlights, which is a very popular magazine. It is, I still believe it's in circulation. It's at least online, but I believe that there's probably still, maybe, I don't know, who knows what's in circulation anymore. But this is a compilation. So kids wrote to the editor of Highlights magazine throughout the years that they've been around since, well, it says in here, I forgot. Well, 75 years. This was, I think this was published at least something like 2020, not 1920. Still relevant. 2021. All right, so 75 years. All right, so still around 75 years of letters that children wrote to the editors, and they're demonstrating that they're very similar from they had some from 1968, something like that, 964 maybe, I don't even know. I think so. But yeah, and then put them juxtaposition with other letters that were similar from, a more recent time. And there are, I noticed the only difference I noticed is that there is really like a dedication in writing the letter, like being clear and making sure that you are. So I wonder if some of the kids didn't write the letters in, I don't even know if we wrote letters in elementary school to Highlights. I didn't know what Highlights was because we didn't have it in the house, but they did have it in the class. It wasn't one of those things I gravitated to. I gravitated to the stories that were in the little scholastic kind of books that were, I read all the ones that were scary ones first. Mysteries first. So all this mystery stuff going on around me, you're amongst somebody who's been sharpening her skills since she was in 3rd grade. Interesting though, interesting. I was just reading here in the beginning here where it says here, and that they have some letters, which we haven't gotten to. John F. Kennedy, the Challenger disaster, 9/11, and COVID. I haven't read any of those. Okay. But there is a whole section on COVID. But we are reading about hopes and dreams, right? So, which happens to be my area of expertise. And not only just, like, I know how to dream. You don't even know how I know how to dream. But also that I know from a psychological perspective, from a scientific perspective, as you will see in what I'm about to show you, from a scientific perspective, I know how to build it. And anything can be better science than what they're doing, like on SARS-2. Or in medicine, anything could be better science. I'm quite certain if anyone has a real sincere idea, anything is better than the science that they're doing in medicine. All right. But you can be a scientist too. And it doesn't even really take a lot. Like, it doesn't take a whole change in, takes a change in thinking, but it doesn't really take a lot of change in what you're doing, right? You just become more systematic about it. So if you started writing everything down about your diet, for example, you would become very systematic about that, and that's science. And that's science. Science is a system of things that can be supported, right? Like, this is the reason why I did it, or these are the conclusions I came to. It's based on, 100 years of a diary or whatever, right? Or whatever. But still, you can be the scientist, and can I restate, better scientists than we have in the medical research institution, right? By writing things down, and then you might want to date stamp it, right? You might want to date stamp it. And if you sent it to yourself, it would have an automatic computer date stamp on it. However, all of the big harvesters will be stealing all that data. Get yourself an old-fashioned notebook, and oh, by the way, they have most of that too as well from mine. Whatevs. Anyway. So there is a systematic way of going at anything, right? You can go at anything. I'm getting a fruit fly over here. You can go, or whatever it is. You can go at anything in a systematic way. So you are depressed. You want to be less depressed. You can go at it in a systematic way, right? I talked about it. And, looking at your rumination, right? And then how do I look at rumination levels? How do you measure rumination levels? Well, how about you write about your thinking every single day, right? So there are many ways that you can be a science, and this, of course, is DIY psychology coming up, right? That you can make, but we always associate with all classes, so that you could make whatever the issue is a study of science that is, it just has to be actually, measurable and replicable. I probably don't have the right accent on that for most people or some people, but it has to be, otherwise it's replicatable, which it could be, right? But so you have to replicate it. It has to be able to, somebody else has to be able to read your stuff and go, all right, now I'm going to do that and see if I come to the same conclusions. For example, the McDonald's guy who ate McDonald's for however long he ate McDonald's for and almost died, right? So, I mean, I don't want to say that and then all of a sudden McDonald's like, but that would mean that more people than zero were paying attention to me. So, whatevs, it's a trade-off. Right now, with zero people, I could blah. But that's what the rumor was, that he was sick after eating McDonald's food for so long, right? However long he decided to eat it for, which was of his own fruition. I don't know why anybody would want to put their body through that. And true that. Oh, but I have fruit flies in my house. Ugh. So, regarding hopes and dreams, right? Well, in the very title is a systematic way of looking at hopes and dreams. What? Well, maybe write down your dreams. Maybe write down your dreams. And you could be as literal, write down your dreams, right? Or, write down your goals as figuratively about your dreams, right? That you want to be. Write down your dreams. That would be a systematic way. And we know scientifically that when people write down their goals and their dreams, that they're more likely to obtain those, all right? So here is a video. So this is what I wanted to show you. Here's a video that I had done. It's only 4 minutes long or something like that. I think about 4 minutes long. A video that I put together, which are part of my shorts. And there are short health ones, and there are shorts, other shorts, political statements, kind of wise tips or whatever. was going to do my DIY psychology, as I said in my DIY psychology introduction. What is it, right? Some of the things I was going to do. And so this is part of those extra things that I do to get people to buy into. Maybe if they don't like the classroom, maybe they can watch a 4-minute video that's called 2-minute shorts. Just like her. That's just like her. Having a 4-minute video and calling it 2-minute shorts. That's just like Dr. Feravich. Okay, so you're used to it. Let's take a look at it. I'm going to put this up while I do my little abracadabra behind the scenes. Okay. Hey, Minion, can you please upload that video? Sure thing, Dr. Feravich. Sure thing. Hold on just a minute. I'm laughing. Okay. All right. In episode number 2 of my series on depression and behavior, I introduced... They go and pop up now because I don't have premium anymore because of all this ruckus that's going on. So I don't have premium anymore and I can't watch any of my videos without all of the commercials and stuff like that. I don't have premium any longer. But all of my videos are up there to be seen without commercials. So, the oppression of the white man. Give me a sec. Hold on. In episode number 2 of my series on depression and behavior, I introduce a hope theory worksheet, which we use in therapy to elevate hope. Stay tuned for this episode of Annette's 2-minute health boost for a closer look on how to use the hope theory worksheet. Dr. Annette Feravich from HealthyMindBodySpirit.net, talking to you today about increasing your hope. It takes conscious effort to change our thinking, and although it is not always easy in the beginning, especially if you aren't motivated, after several conscious efforts, behaviors can become automatic. Regarding our topic on hope, this means that you can begin to automatically view things as more hopeful. Additionally, you can also begin to engage in behaviors that build hope automatically. Let's take a look. You'll want to select a domain or an area in which you want to increase your hope. This should be an area of your life that is important and also gives you great satisfaction. So the first thing you want to do is to rank order domains or areas in your life in terms of importance and satisfaction. You can see that domains include academia, family, leisure time, personal growth, health and fitness, love relationships, social relationships, and work. Feel free to add or subtract domains depending on your journey. Rank them in terms of importance first from 1 to 8, and then on satisfaction from 1 to 8, with 1 being the most important and the most satisfying. Once you've done this, you'll then select the domain you want to work on and follow the rest of the worksheet, answering each question. Once you've completed the worksheet, you can begin the first step of your first 3 steps listed in your last
question. This method has shown to increase hope in important and satisfying domains. Create a habit and then see the results. A good way to recognize the results is to journal. So this is Dr. Annette Feravich from healthymindbodyspirit.net, hoping this 2-minute health boost also boosts your hope.
Okay, I had to shut it down before I started a whole new video or whatever else goes on there, and then it's like, copyright. What? But the next video was actually my depression and behavior video, which is likely where I have that hope worksheet on a much bigger level. It's a real good example of how you can systematically, that has been demonstrated already to be a reliable way and a valid way of increasing your hope. And you can see that right from those questions that were listed there, that it is systematic. If I go through and I answer those questions, I can see why it would work. So there's sort of substance to what Dr. Feravich is saying, right? I'm thinking of that word that I read in Susan B. Anthony's. It was subsistence, though, right? Not substance, which is what I thought it was saying. Especially with that print that is thinner than that's like a half a piece of hair. I realize each of my hairs are getting thinner, but for Pete's sake, it still looks pretty full to me. Okay, stop with your nonsense. Stop with your narcissism. Okay, so we read Lucy and Amanda Detectives, right? So all of those about how I hope to be. And then we looked at hope is like the stars. And then we talked about whether or not this child over here plagiarized Van Gogh. We did. Look at 93. We're detectives all the time, 24/7, no matter what. Just like I'm a teacher 24/7. And when I'm dreaming, I told you. Hope. What are you dreaming about? Hope. Hopes and dreams. Career. So it's interesting to me, can I just also say that the columnists, advisors, what are they? Advice columnists, yeah. These advice columnists put career in hopes and dreams. So lots of career here, but to me, you are missing the divinity of the female perspective, because hopes and dreams are not about careers entirely. And actually, at the basis, at the root, never are. Your careers are about your hopes and dreams, right? Not your hopes and dreams are about your careers. Although they could be. They hopefully are. Mine are. But no. My hopes and dreams came long before my career. And that's what motivated and drove my career, right? Of course, my hopes and dreams for a better tomorrow. You think I'm kidding you? Bree, go to Bookless over there. Another boohoo session. Surprised, shocked by Susan B. Anthony's words that brought me to tears again. Ugh! She's hopeless. She's a hopeless romantic. What do those things mean to you? It means I've got something that's itching my side over here. That's what this whole body thing means. Okay. So more career stuff, which really is less than, our hopes and dreams for sure. I gotta revive this a little bit because it's not reviving. So let me do that, please. Watch it just go crash. Now we have 0 dropped frames for this whole stuff, so I'm really happy about that. My parents want me to be a lawyer when I grow up, but I love art. I want to be an artist. I love sketching with pencils, but I'm too afraid to tell my parents that. I hint, but it doesn't work. Can you please help? Emily, age 9, 1993. I got a lot to say about this. Emily, thanks for the letter to highlights. But I am maintaining a little bit of self-control here, and we read first the advice columnist's advice. Response. Dear Emily, your parents may be urging you to be a lawyer because you display some character traits that would make you a successful lawyer. Perhaps you are good at speaking, can think fast, and have a good sense of what is right and wrong. Or perhaps your mother or father is a lawyer and they would like for you to follow in their footsteps. Either way, we're sure your parents realize that you are still young to be... We're sure your parents realize that you are still young to be choosing your career. Since you enjoy art and sketching with pencils, then we suggest you continue pursuing your artistic interests. It is usually true that the things we enjoy doing the most are the things we are good at. We think it is likely that your parents' biggest desire is for you to have a happy childhood and adult life doing what you enjoy. If you still feel uncomfortable about your parents' career choice for you, you might want to talk to them about it. We think that will help you feel better. Okay, let me start with a little story as an answer to that one. And the story is this. So I'm teaching a class in a developmental psychology undergraduate course. And the class is on the chapter, which is on that fruit fly. Die. And the chapter is on intelligence and creativity, right? So you've got these two things that really are very different, but only one part of what we would say development, right? Only one part of development. So, I mean, because our bodies develop, how do our eyes develop? How do our personalities develop? How do our social skills develop, right? And then how does our intellect develop? And in the same chapter, how does our creativity develop, right? So what I did was I asked the students to... So the chapter is split in half. The first half is on intelligence and the second half is on creativity. So in the middle of the two components of that chapter, after intelligence, before creativity, I asked the students to write down and talk about the career that they were choosing, and if they thought that it was a career based on intellect or a career based on creativity, and if they thought that they were denying some other part of themselves, likely creative part, right, in choosing, to go to school, to go to a university. Just exactly like what Emily is saying, right? I mean, intellect versus creativity. And what I found is that there were very few parents who cared about a student's creativity and their creative side, and that almost every parent at the university level was willing to overly motivate their child to be something that demonstrated intellect, a doctor or a lawyer. The universities are filled with that kind of mentality, right? That I'm going to make a difference as a doctor or a lawyer. Yeah, but not as an artist at all. And of course, we know that from elementary school, we haven't been supporting the arts or anything close to the arts since what, the 80s, I would believe. I would believe that's probably right. Yeah, because it was when I was in school that they started taking all of those the government funding for the arts away, right? And now we see all kinds of artistic institutions like the music industry trampling all over their artists. And it's not something new, but it has been going on for about 75, 85 years, right? So it's a problem that we're aware of that should have been taken care of by now. We could assume as the public. But as Susan B. Anthony said, we just need to make it a practical cause that we, for example, never let a mother go without the ability to provide for her children. Nobody's asking for a free ride. We're asking to not be so GD oppressed that we can't do it, right? That I can't keep a house that costs me $800 a month. What? Oh, I'm sorry, maybe you're not educated enough. Yeah, maybe I can't do this program either. After 700 episodes I produced. You see this work in front of the camera. Who do you think does all this? Blah. Your script writers. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I did want to say, you can see the difference in that video, right? Between a written script. So there is how I perform with the written script compared to what we teachers have to teach on the fly with our knowledge and understanding of the information that we're teaching. Oh, you son of a bitch fruit fly. Oh, there is one right there. They are a little slow, but I don't have good eyesight any longer. So it's like, stop with your fruit flies, you demons. Think I'm joking? I'm not. I'm not. Oh, it's like I'm seeing them come out of thin air all of a sudden. And why? And why? They've trained those things because that's what they work in. I know I'm going to be like that. I know you saw that right in front of the camera. That son of a bitch getting his 1 millisecond of fame. Dear highlights, I have grown very interested. No. Oh, we've got so much to comment on this. Oh my gosh. So, what was the result? How do I know what I know? That I know. How is that? Oh, it's right in front of the camera. Is that about 1/3, I would say. So, okay, so not more than half, but 1/3. And if you were to kind of say, there's probably a few of them that, have already been convinced by that time. So maybe more. 1/3 of the students, I'm pretty sure that was what I said. 1/3 of the students said that they were in the chosen career because their parents wanted them to be. And to me, in my mind as a teacher, 1/3 is substantial. That's substantial number of my class. And in that class, I had, let's say 50 students, right? So, what is that? 18 students, something like that. It's 18 and 24, carry 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's pretty close. Yeah, about 17, 18 students that said that. Yeah, so that's maybe not that many just because of who showed up or whatever. But about 1/3 of the responses, which I still think is considerable. Considerable enough, number one, I was shocked because I never expected it. First time I gave a discussion question like this. I was so happy that I got that. I mean, like that was to be a psychologist and get surprising feedback that's statistical is like, whoa, right? That was like, whoa. And I did talk about it. And I was just like, it's sometimes where I work my best, right? Because it's where I became very passionate. I mean, not like, but to stop the class and the lesson the next time we met in order to talk about that for a substantial amount of time, I teach positive psychology. And so here's where I infiltrate my positive psychology into my developmental psychology, right? Just like we do here. We talk about all of the other topics. Somehow it all kind of works together as it unfolds. And, that's experience, that's knowledge, that's understanding of the material, but also that's grace. In my mind, that's also grace. And it's grace by which we have our sort of journey unfold before us. Our talents are written. They're already written. We could see it when 1/3 of the people of the students are saying, "Hey, I'm a great artist." A lot of them with music, right? I want to be a musician. A lot of that. And we did creativity versus intellect. So sports really weren't part of the equation. Nobody said, "I want to play basketball as an artist," right? Although that one commercial does look like that guy was a basketball player as an artist, doesn't it? Which one I'm talking about? A little weird to me, just a little weird. It just is. Why would you stop in the middle of a recital to go dance in the back of the room and then accidentally the doors open? It's just a little grotesque. Oh, did I mention the person was in his underwear? Hanes. I said it. I know I shouldn't have said it because I don't like that commercial at all. So there is a number of people who, if they were to take their parents' advice, their parents wouldn't say that they want I thought it was right here. Oh, here. That their parents' biggest desire is for you to have a happy childhood and adult life doing what you enjoy. 1/3 of my adult college students would disagree with that, right? So I like the advice of pursuing, like you continue to draw and find out different ways of being able to, be an artist. I mean, we just don't have enough art in our lives. And even when we do have art in our lives, what ends up happening? I mean, like, let me give you an example. I did these walls. So I have art in my life. I did this, right? And I love my tree up there. So I definitely have art in my life. Definitely, right? But all of these things, they fade with time. Oh, this wall is it's probably not even in style right now. It's a whatever you call it, using the whisk thing, right? The dust is what I used on there. And so even if I'm an artist in my own right, in a way that I enjoy, maybe I'm not asking to be paid for this, right? We're going to do a DIY on what I did on the garage door. So look for that. It's not going to be this week because that would be tomorrow. It will be today or tomorrow. It will be on Tuesday. I'm going to do a DIY on how I made my regular garage look like it's wood. Now, that's not going to go out of style. I don't care who you are. That's not going out of style. It looks like it's wood, a wood garage door, which is beautiful. And I didn't have to pay for the price of a wood garage door or have the heaviness of a wood garage, all those kinds of things. But it looks like that. Okay. But so that's a style that's not going to change, but certainly this artistic thing is going to change. So, and I'm not getting paid for it. So it's like, there's just not a lot of value put in this artistic ability by other people. So of course that's what the parents see. How are you going to make a living? And good luck, Chuck. You're Emily. We go to the Bookless classroom. You were a young lady at the time you wrote. You were 9, right? And see what happens to women who can't support themselves. And no female artist basically could support themselves. Even look at Jane Eyre, I think it's Eyre, and I wouldn't know except for I saw the movie the other day, Jane. She didn't seem to be, rolling in the dough, but it sure did seem like there were an awful lot of men who took advantage of her, right? So, I mean, they were digging potatoes, and it just goes to show you, again, when you take a look at gathering your information from different sides of culture, even from the movies, right? And it doesn't mean that what the movie wrote wasn't written for artistic value and is untrue, or written for artistic value and is true, or just true, right? Not for artistic value or whatever. It doesn't mean that that what they're saying is true or untrue, but it certainly is worth looking into. I think that's some interest. That poor people. And was she from? She was from England, so, or digging potatoes. Women, a woman who was not married to a man of means had to make her meals by digging potatoes out of the ground that were basically wild potatoes. And that's what they did for a living. They were basically hunters and gatherers of their own food so that they could eat. And that's it. I mean, I don't know. That's the gist I got from the movie. But what I'm saying is worth a deeper dive. And here's where our artistic value really is, I use the word criminal a lot. So, okay, let's use it again to show that there's a wide generalization in what I'm saying. All right. So the way that we have diminished this appreciation is, in my mind, criminal, because what it does is it depreciates our ability to critically think about things. If I'm looking at a piece of art and wondering what that piece of art means, or wondering why I love that piece of art, there's some critical thinking going on. Now, somebody else might be like, yeah, you're a nut. I don't like that piece. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, really, does it? Right? There's some critical thinking going on. You could take a look at this picture and have absolutely zero thoughts about this picture, right? I take a look at this picture. I take a look at this picture here, and I have lots of thoughts, lots of critical thinking comes on board when I look at my son's pictures. And so this isn't knowledge that you get in a university. And in fact, it appears to me to be nurturing types of knowledge that, as we heard yesterday in the Bookless classroom from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, that are qualities of women that are qualities of the divine. Yeah. Do men look at pictures and do critical thinking? Do men look at pictures of their children? Now, I know that they do critical thinking when men look at pictures of naked women. But do men look at pictures of their children and do some critical thinking? You know what I think right now when I look at the pictures of my boys? And right now, for what people know, you might think, my younger son, I think, no. My older son, and not even like all the time of incidents and choices I made and how I raised them. That's the critical thinking that you think of, right? You think of so they're grown, they don't look like this anymore. And I can pick up their picture, which is a form of media that is not, found at a university institution and is not categorized at all as knowledge, and do some great critical thinking. How was that decision then? How about this that happened at this time, right? How about the fact that there is a book that's written about my son's early experiences in his life that nobody could have known except for me and his dad, and he was too young to remember most of them. How is that in a published book? Hyperbole and a half, my son's experiences, right? So I can look at the picture and I can even, critically think about a mystery even that's going on, right? The last thing, let me look at this. to see what else I wanted to say about it. And it popped out because I knew it was from the first paragraph. I sort of went backwards up to here to the first paragraph again. And so it was this. Your parents may be urging you to be a lawyer because you display some character traits that would make you a successful lawyer. Perhaps you are good at speaking, can think fast, and have a good sense of what is right and wrong. So, what I'm going to say is my parents were not as maybe your parents are lawyers. My parents were not lawyers, and my dad encouraged me my whole childhood to be a lawyer. Of course, he never really put anything behind it as far as support goes. So good luck, Chuck, but you have the mind to be a lawyer. And so, and I do think that it was because I was very outspoken, first of all. For sure, I was outspoken. I wasn't afraid to speak my mind. I had evidence to back up what I was saying that came out of my mouth. So I was able to think fast with the evidence. And I had a good sense of right and wrong. So I would have made a good lawyer. That's the reason why he said that. But Emily, I am an artist at heart. I mean, I'm a scientific artist, but I'm an art. Look what I'm wearing. I'm wearing something that somebody would wear on stage, right? So there are all kinds of varying degrees by which we can be intellectual and artistic at the same time. The last comment I'll make is my girlfriend, who I mentioned before, is in the movie. I think it's Terms of Endearment. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it is. And she is on the doc of that. So she's in that movie as the body double for Jane Fonda in that movie. And I said to her, she said her goal was to be an actress, to be famous. Because I said, that's different than wanting to be an actress. Because you could be an actress and even teach acting at your kids' school, right? You could do that. You could write plays if you wanted to. So you could really be an actor if that was your true desire and do it at home. So her true desire really was to be famous. If your true desire is to be an artist, don't forget, you can do it, fulfill that desire in many, many ways. For a career, you have to make money at it. People have to be willing to pay you for a career. But that doesn't ever have to stop you from doing your pencil art that you love, or progressing into new art forms that you have a real talent for. It's just because we don't have an appreciation for art, so much so in the United States, that you might not be able, and for women who are artists in one way or another, that you might not be able to make a successful living at being an artist. Okay, so we got through, through some sufficient stuff in our 45-minute class on engaging a healthy mind, body, spirit. One of the reasons why it's 45 minutes is because you don't have to talk forever on everything. This is a little bit closer to, a high school engaging a healthy mind, body, spirit level. And and you don't need to talk for an hour on everything. So I think it's good. And we are here. I'm here in the classroom. I am your teacher, and the classroom is engaging a healthy mind, body, spirit. And we are building up your hopes and dreams. I think we're probably going to go on to the next topic. See how I always build up a goodbye and then I don't do it? Societal concerns and events. So this might be where this is likely where we're going to get to 9/11, the pandemic, and other things like the assassination of John F. Kennedy and the Challenger disaster. So that's probably what we're going to come back with tomorrow. I might, if I have time, glance through the hopes, but it's like most of these hopes are career hopes. We're just finally getting into the artist hope. We'll see. So societal concerns and events, notice the contents there. So that's kind of how we're traveling through. And then have all kinds of, it does seem like delicious comments to me, at least anyway. I've been interested so much so that we got through 2 letters today. That's it. I think 2 letters. Anyway, this is Dr. Annette Feravich. I'm the teacher. Thanks for joining me here in the classroom.